Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, formerly known as Let's Take About It, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Sleep Center, as well as our friends at Goebel Septic. I'm Aaron Vantile, joined tonight by only Chronicle sports writer Alec Dietz, as Eric Trent has abandoned us.
Yep.
He is out viewing the major motion picture Dune, I believe.
I know. What is he doing?
He should have known the real spice is here in the Chronicle podcast studio, the desert wasteland that it is. And as always, we're going to fire it up tonight and start off with COVID scheduling updates. I believe we have one.
Yeah. So Winlock had a game against Acosta that got canceled on Acosta's behalf. And now they're playing Republic on Friday. I don't know much about Republic. I think they might be like 2-3, but playing the who have they played game probably won't help us.
I can't. Republic, former B basketball powerhouse here 10, 15 years ago. Since then, haven't heard from Republic a lot.
So they're coming to town.
Hope they're doing well. They're hosting Republic?
They are hosting Republic.
Wow.
I think it's their senior night, which is why they wanted to get a game.
All right. That should be pretty interesting. I bet at some point Bamer is going to be like, hey, remember the Janikakis boys? And somebody from Republic will be like, what are you talking about? Anyway, let's jump into the Week 8 recap. In the 2As, Rochester beat Aberdeen 21-8. Talon Betts, 3 touchdowns and 120 yards for Rochester. They kept their playoff hopes alive with the win. Anything else notable about that one?
Not particularly, other than the playoff. Rochester's actually off this week, so they're just kind of waiting to see what everyone else is doing before they know what's going on with postseason.
All right. Tumwater 50, Black Hills 7. This was the Pioneer Bowl. Peyton Hoyt, Carlos Matheny, Ashton Payne, Austin Terry, Ryan Otten, Seth Well, and Zach Summers all had touchdowns for Tumwater. They look still pretty good.
Yep, undefeated in league and only lost to a 4A team and the best team from Oregon. So I think they've already pretty much they've played less league games than everybody, but I'm pretty sure they've still clinched the top spot. I don't think anyone's going to argue and say they don't deserve it.
Yeah, I think they're safe. Swamp Cup happened Friday night. WF West 42, Centralia 8. Eric Trent handed out the Swamp Man Trophy, the 13th straight Swamp Cup win for the Bearcats, who clinched second best in the EVCO. They're the number 2 seed going in. There's nothing that can change that, right?
No, they are solidly ahead of what would be the third team in Shelton.
Okay.
I think they have 5 league wins, and Shelton's sitting at 3, so there's no possible way that they can make that ground up.
All right, and we'll go over all the playoff scenarios here in a few minutes. But in that one, Gavin Fugate, WFS quarterback, 15 of 26 for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. Gage Brumfield had 7 catches for 118 yards, and Blake Seymour for Centralia had the Tigers' lone touchdown. In the 1As, Tenino, Beaver Fever is still in season. Tenino beat Elma 44-16. They are going to the postseason for the first time since 2013. Takari Hickle ran for 3 touchdowns. Gavin Watson had 2. And Tenino is the 1A Evergreen Conference runner-up behind only Eatonville, who they lost to 24-22?
Yes.
Okay. In the 2Bs, Napavine 60, Forks nothing. Poor Forks.
Man.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Napavine, there was a quote from Faye about, I wrote in here that Napavine doesn't even care that it was a league championship. Josh Fay, Napavine coach, said something like, we really just worry about state in the playoffs. It's not a big thing.
Yeah.
Ashton Demarest, Napavine quarterback, threw for 249 yards, ran for 100, and had 5 touchdowns. Gavin Parker ran 16 times for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Lucas Dahl had 126 receiving yards and a touchdown, receiving and a rushing touchdown.
Man, Gavin Parker's yards per carry average is going down. Normally it's up at 60, 70 a game, right?
Yeah, Parker is he's got to be in the conversation for one of the C2BL MVP awards, either offensive or defensive. It'll be interesting to see how they split that up this year between, I assume they'll do like North and South will do separate voting for those at the top secret end of the season league meeting, which should be happening. Let's see. This is week 9 coming up, so probably Sunday would be my guess. Okay. So start looking for hints from your local football coaches as to which way they voted on things like that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because, pigtail stuff starts Monday.
Yeah, and they like to have them done before that.
Interesting, okay.
Let's see. Kalama 36, Toledo 7. Jeffrey Glass ran back a kickoff for Toledo's only touchdown. Toledo was 0 for 4 in the red zone, and Wyan Neff had 11 carries for 82 yards. Any word on how Kalama looked there?
Yeah, it sounded like Essery did what he normally does. I could probably read off his stat line, and it would sound the same as it has pretty much every single week of the season.
He's pretty good.
That's probably less of Toledo kind of not. And, I mean, honestly, got in the red zone 4 times. If they turn all those into touchdowns, it might be a different game. But
yeah,
it sounds like, again, I haven't gotten a chance to watch Kalama this year or ever. But it sounds like Kalama's defense is kind of a lot better than people were giving it credit for.
Okay. And if they do split up the C2BL into North and South for MVP voting, all league voting, things like that, I think it's a safe bet that Jackson Essery probably an MVP.
Probably.
All right. Rainier, Oregon, 28, Onalaska 14. The Loggers were scrambling to fill a game slot, it sounded like.
Yes, it was the I think it was the ADNA COVID issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they went across the border, took the short route across the border, I guess. Marshall Haight ran for 147 yards, and the Loggers have lost 3 in a row, but still might be the best 2-5 team in the state.
Yeah. I think I had a friend who covers them told me that the Rainier, Oregon coach said that was the best 2-5 team he'd ever played. So
I believe it.
Yeah, for sure. They have Stevenson this week, so they finally get to play a league game.
That should be a get-right game for the Loggers, I would expect.
Right.
Let's see. PL Valley 43, Iwako nothing. Blake Howard had 2 touchdowns and 83 yards. Derek Fluke had a touchdown, 74 yards. Tyler Adkins 3 of 4 passing for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Now that's efficiency.
That is his QBR must be through the roof. And they held the Fishermen to 56 total yards. Weird score alert. Morton White Pass 46, North Beach 2.
There were 3 safeties in this game.
That's a lot more than you usually see
Yeah.
by about 3.
Yeah.
Carter Dantine ran in 4 touchdowns, had almost 200 yards, and Brecken Pelletier and Peyton Brown also had touchdowns for Morton White Pass. It's just a weird score.
I think it sounded like the coast got hit by the kind of rainstorm we just experienced this past
this was
weekend.
in North Beach. Okay.
So I think they, I remember Morton was telling me that one touchdown came from like a punt snap that just got bobbled and, it wasn't they didn't stuff him on the goal line or something. It was kind of a freak play.
Yeah. So. With the weather, that'll happen. Raymond South Bend 34, Rainier 12. The Mountaineers still winless despite almost beating Toledo in week 1, right?
Yeah. It's bizarre. They're playing him again this week, too.
All right. Just run it back. Why not? Ian Sprowski, 14 of 33, passing for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jake Meldrum with 124 receiving yards and a touchdown for Rainier there. Then in the 1Bs, this was the eye popper.
Yeah.
Winlock 82, Chief Leshai 48. Winlock senior tailback Nolan Swafford carried the ball 17 times for 369 yards and 10 touchdowns. He broke the 8-man record for points in a single game with 66 and tied the state touchdown record or the state record for touchdowns in a game. That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. it's pretty good. I don't really know what else to say about it other than, 10 touchdowns. That's wild.
8-man football. That's going to be that's the Al Bundy thing later in life. He's going to be, posted up at Frosty's being like, let me tell you about the time. 10 touchdowns, 1 game.
rushing yards in a single game.
That's a good season.
Yeah, that is.
Mossy Rock 42, Tudor Lake 6, Easton Kolb threw for 6 touchdowns and 251 yards. And normally, like, those numbers we'd be like, wow, threw for 6 touchdowns. When it comes right after your boy Nolan Swatford,
nothing,
10 touchdowns, you're just like, yeah,
that's
it's
nothing.
Cool.
Nice, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's nice. 4 of those went to Keegan Kolb, who caught 6 passes for 122 yards and 4 scores. Yeah, that was the week. What's that? Week 8? Must have been week 8.
8, yes.
Week 8 wrap up.
Yep.
Let's see. And now is where we talk to you about Global Septic. Alec, what can you tell us about Global Septic?
Well, I haven't been since that cross country meet last week, but always happy. Really happy that they're helping us out, and also that they provide a good service when you go to cross country meets.
What if I have a grease trap? And I'm just like, man, I got too much grease here in my grease trap.
I think you need to visit globalseptic.com or call 360-736-2167.
And they will be able to help me out with my grease trap.
They will.
But what if I also need my septic tank pumped?
Same thing.
It's easy. What if I'm not sure if it needs to be pumped?
I think that you should just bookmark globalseptic.com on your computer.
I do have a lot of plumbing
so that you can always know what they offer and how they can help.
And of course, they can provide you with porta potties, set you up for an outdoor event, or maybe you just got the in-laws coming in and you don't want to be using your bathroom. Yeah, we're very happy to have a sponsorship from Global Septic. Check them out for all your plumbing and septic needs. Other sports are happening. Alec, you can take the wheel here. What's happening?
Yeah, a lot. So tonight, there's a lot of 2B volleyball is going to be finalized. All the last games are being played today. It's a 16-team double elimination bracket, so it's just as complex as you can imagine. Mm-hmm. If you look at the bracket, there's a lot going on. But it sounds like Kalama is going to come out number 1 in the Central. Sounds like Adna, even though they got shut down, they only have 1 league loss. So they're probably going to host as the Central 2nd seed. Mm-hmm. And then Onalaska, Napavine, Winlock, they'll all be participating in that for 2B. As far as 2A, they're all way behind everybody. Like, I don't know why 2A volleyball doesn't start their postseason for like another 2 weeks or something. So they still got a lot left to play for. Like, they haven't even... I think they just started playing the second go-around for each team. So yeah. They're behind everybody, but yeah. And then Tenino's having trouble this year, so they won't be in the playoffs for 1A. But that's sort of the rundown so far on 2B and volleyball, because everything's going to be decided tonight pretty much.
All right, and girls soccer, who's in the playoffs? What's going on there?
So we know for sure 2A is settled. Again, for some reason, why does soccer finish before volleyball? And whatever. But WF West is going to host a crossover game against Ridgefield on Saturday. Ridgefield is kind of a perennial powerhouse. I think they went to the state semis the last time there was state. So I don't know how they dropped to 3rd this year in the St. Helens Conference down south. But exciting for the Bearcats if they manage to get, I believe it's either the top 3 or the top 4. I think it's top 4. They get to go to state for the first time since 2012.
Okay.
So that'd be cool for them. Other than WF West, as far as local teams in 2A, also Tumwater and Black Hills. I think Tumwater is the top seeds. They're playing someone that's not good. Mm-hmm. And Black Hills is going to Hawkinson.
And in 2A volleyball, District 4 does have 4 berths this year. So.
Yeah. Yep. So, it'd be cool if WF West could kind of break that streak and go to state for the first time in a minute.
All right.
And then, let's see, 2B soccer. Everything with 2B is being finalized tonight. So I think 2B soccer is playing their last games today. They have stuff starting on Saturday, too. It sounds like Kalama has already wrapped up the South as the top seed. I think Toledo and Ani are still jockeying for the 2nd and 3rd seeds. And then in the North, I think Napavine is jockeying for the 2nd spot with Ocosta and Adna is going to be the top seed on the north side, and that all starts on Saturday.
Okay. And just a quick look at the 2B girls soccer RPI board. Toledo is 5th. Oh, Kalama's 2. Kalama 2, Toledo 5, Ani 6, Adna 8, Napavine 11, and Ocosta 12. So some pretty good D4 schools in there.
There's going to be a bunch of teams that don't make state that probably deserve to.
Yeah. District cross country, is that this weekend?
That is tomorrow. That is Thursday.
Okay, cool.
If it's anything like I've heard that Vancouver and those teams in the South have some good runners, but if it's anything like the Evergreen Championships, it looks like John Hoffer from Tumwater will probably win. He kind of took it by a lot when they raced last time, but Levi Jennings also has a shot with Rochester. He's a good runner. He got 3rd. I think he was about 40 seconds or so behind Hoffer for the boys. And then on the girls' side, a freshman for WF West was the area's top runner. She finished 3rd.
Is that the Ricks kid?
Mercedes Ricks, yeah. She's a freshman, and you only need to make the top 28 in districts to go to state. So I think she has a pretty good shot as a freshman to get a good experience. And I think they run in the Tri-Cities at state.
Okay.
Which makes sense. Weather over there is a little better, but that should be the Evergreen cross country stuff.
Okay.
As far as 2B, I think the Rainier swept their boys runner and their girls runner won for 2B. So I'm not sure if theirs is this week or next week. It's got to be this week because I think state for everybody is next week. So there'll be lots of running this week.
So much running coming up. The 2B cross-country district championships are Saturday in Rainier.
We're going to that. Yeah.
Let's see. Dylan Davis from Rainier was the champion in the boys C2BL meet.
Right. And that was kind of a surprise.
And in the girls, it was Selena Animi from Rainier. So,
which was less of a surprise.
Yeah,
she's been pretty good all year.
Good. Let's see. District golf wrapped up last week. What was that? Thursday they finished up golf?
Yeah. Or Wednesday. I forget if it was Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, but it was one of those days.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week, but
I think we did.
The WFS freshman, Ben Howard?
He qualified. Well, they don't know if they qualified for state, but he did well. But the area's top finisher was Von Wasson. He finished 2nd.
Okay.
In a pretty packed field. I think he was just behind that one kid from Woodland.
The Huddleston kid.
Yep.
Yet another Huddleston.
Yep, and he's very, very good. But again, Von Wasson's only a sophomore, so finishing 2nd, he will almost assuredly go to state.
And then his brother is what, Cole?
Cole, I think Cole.
I feel like Cole was in the top 10 too.
He was. He was. It's escaping me where everybody finished, but it's also hard to judge what with state being so far away and them also not knowing.
6 months away.
Everyone did pretty good, but they won't know if they're moving on until the spring.
All right, and then WFS tennis, still pretty good?
Yeah, so they had their, district tournaments.
They're up at Steamboat Island?
Yeah. Steamboat Tennis and Athletic Club in Olympia.
The ritzy part of Olympia.
So they had their doubles team of Joseph Chung and Aaron Bogus, Bogus. They both qualified for state. They're going to be competing in the championship game on Thursday. And I think if you qualify for the district championship, you get to go to state.
I think so, too.
And then singles player Justin Chung also qualified. He's going to be playing in the championship for the singles as well. And then it looks like Javen Hahn, who's a freshman for WF West, lost his first match but came back and won the second. So he needs to win, I think, his next match on Thursday to qualify for the third, fourth game. And if he qualifies for that, he gets to go to state.
Okay. Let's see. We'll move on from other sports are happening to the perfect report. Alec, can you tell me who is still undefeated after 8 weeks of football?
It's Napavine.
And is there any chance Napavine can finish the regular season undefeated?
Yes, there is a very, very, very great chance. I would bet a lot of money on it if anyone would take me up on it.
Who do they wrap up the season with?
Morton White Pass.
Okay, and Morton White Pass, a fine team.
Having a good year.
Having a good year. But can they beat Napavine in week 9?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's a little harsh for our friends from Morton White Pass, but honest, fair. I also do not like Morton White Pass's odds in that game.
I think it'll be closer.
Having a lovely year.
It'll be closer than it was with Napavine and Forks, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. It'll stick it in Forks' eye. So let's look at the playoff picture. We've got outlined here the playoff football, the crossover scenarios. So in District 4, traditionally, there's 2 leagues for the 2As, 1As, and 2Bs. The 2As, you got the GSHL and the Evergreen 2A Conference. The 1As, you've got the 1A Evergreen and the 1A Trico, and then the Central 2B League is no longer. For football, it's the Southwest Washington 2B League, and the North and South play crossovers. So for the most part, these are pretty straightforward. In the 2As, for example, they take the top 4 from each league, they play each other 4 versus 1, and so on and so forth, and the winners go to state. And in the 1As, it's the same thing. The Trico top 3 teams play the top 3 teams from the 1A Evergreen, and the 3 winners go to state. But the 2Bs,
They've decided to do something different.
they are stepping outside and just taking a look around and saying, like, let's experiment a little bit. The 5 District 4 seeds are also shared with District 1, which is out of the north. And so the 3 seed versus 3 seed game from that is actually going to be a full game now, right?
Yep.
And then the winner of that goes and plays at the Northwest 2B League champion on November 6th, which is
That'll be
next Saturday.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll start with the 2Bs. The South 5 versus the North 1. That is going to be at the North 1, which will be Napavine, right?
Yep, Napavine's locked in there.
And the South 5 is either Wahkiakum or Adna?
Yep, and they are playing on Monday in a full game.
Okay.
In at Wahkiakum.
Tough place to play.
Yep. And the winner of that game will be the South 4. So the loser of that game is going to play at Napavine.
Okay. All right. Who do you like in that one?
Adna Wahkiakum?
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm glad they're playing it because I think both Adna and Wahkiakum play. They obviously play in the no offense to the North, but the South is much tougher. And I think that they've had to go up against Kalama, Ani, and Toledo and kind of lose a lot. And it'd be cool to see a really competitive game between both those teams. But I don't know. Adna, unable to practice for 2 weeks. I think they're going to probably try to squeeze in as many practices as they can get starting on Friday to get ready for that Monday game. And, Wahkiakum has also kind of been off for a little bit. So honestly, I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. I guess I had to pick the local team, so I'd go Adna, but I have no idea.
And
do you have a guess?
I don't know. I got to be a homer and go Adna, I guess, even though they're playing at Wahkiakum, which, as we had mentioned,
it's a tough place to play. It's a really tough place to play.
It doesn't get a lot better. I mean, maybe on the field-wise, it gets a lot better if you're the winner of that game and you take the South 4 seed, but then you have to drive all the way to Forks.
Yes.
And you get to play at Forks.
Yep.
South 4 at Forks, which is the North seed number 2.
Yep.
So that's what's on the line there. You either get to play Napavine or you get to drive all the way to Forks. And, of course, if you're Adna, Napavine, much closer.
Yep.
And if you're Wahkiakum and you wind up driving to Forks, that's a hike.
It's a hike. Although I think both those teams would tell you they'd rather play Forks.
I certainly would, yeah. Let's see. The South number 1 is Kalama, and they will be hosting the North number 5, which is either Raymond South Bend or Ilwaco.
They're playing this week, so it's just a matter of who wins that game.
Okay. And do we feel like either of those two teams has much of a shot against Kalama?
No.
I do not.
No.
I do
Honestly,
not disagree.
I don't know if anyone in this league can compete with either Kalama or Napavine.
It certainly feels like they are destined to meet in the finals for, I don't know, like the fourth time in 6 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Morton White Pass is the North 4, and they will be playing at Onalaska, the South 2.
Yep.
That's all finalized.
All finalized.
Despite Morton White Pass having a better record than Onalaska.
Yes. Well, a better overall record. Ani's league record is actually 4-1.
Okay, right, sure.
Yeah.
Four.
So
How many
they
actually on the field games has Onalaska won?
2.
2, but they've got 2 forfeits.
Yes.
So they took a forfeit from what?
Adna
and
Tootle.
Tootle Lake.
Yes. They've only won twice on the field, yes.
Who did Toledo?
They beat
blew out
Toledo and Wakayakum.
And okay, all right. And Onalaska, what a weird year.
What a weird year.
They get to host the playoff game though. That's cool. Good for them.
Yeah.
And if they blow them out and roll into the state bracket with coming off that big win and a win over Toledo, like they're not going to look bad at the seating committee.
I mean, especially like from what I've heard, they just a lot of the seating committee ignores the RPI, so they won't pay attention on Ani being pretty low there.
Seating committee, yeah, they don't care about RPI.
I could see them having Ani host that first round, but then it being an upward climb because at some point you have to punish a team for losing football games.
Yeah,
even if it's an upward climb, you know what I mean? And like they're playing Linden Christian and all these schools on short notice. Like at some point you have to say like, you know, you gotta beat someone, you know, because Toledo, even though they lost on Alaska, has beaten all these teams on their schedule. Mm-hmm. And they've played the games. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with those two teams.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the seating committee is going to throw out. They've only got 12 teams, and so they got to hand out 4 first-round buys. So Napvine and Kalama are locked in for those.
Yep.
And it sounds like I haven't looked at the
Okanagan's probably going to be locked into one on the east side, and then they might do another eastern team like Lind Ritzville or Columbia Burbank.
Yeah, I would
That'd
imagine one of those will probably, because the next one down from District 4 is Forks, and like I can't see him giving Forks a first-round buy.
Yeah, or Toledo.
Yeah, you know. And so like Onalaska will probably. God, I don't know if they're going to wind up hosting a first-round game. They might have to go across the mountains and play like at one of these, middle of the pack, like
Davenport or Goldendale.
They might be in like the relative 4-5 matchup and go across the mountains to play the 4 seed, which would actually like the 8-9 or something
in the second round.
No, that'd be the first round. I could see him having to travel in the first round.
I could see it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do because, I mean, and the other thing is like, again, Onalaska beat Toledo, and Toledo's actually decently high, highly ranked, and I think they're 6-2 this year. They've only lost to Onalaska and Kalama.
Toledo is 6-2. They are 12th on the RPI board.
So it'll be interesting to see what, given that head-to-head.
Yeah.
A lot of people would argue you have to put Ani ahead of him, but also Ani's probably going to be 3-5 or 4-5 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, that'll be interesting.
That will be fun. Let's see. And then the weird pigtail whatever game, PL Valley is the North number 3 playing Toledo, the South number 3.
That's locked in.
They're going
to play at Tumwater on Monday.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. And my gut says Toledo in that one.
I think so too. PWV's had a really good year.
They are 11. PL Valley is 11 and Toledo's 12 on the RPI board for what that's worth.
Nothing. But
it's not worth anything.
But I think it'll be a lot closer than probably a lot of people think it'll be, just given how the programs have been in the past. But I think Toledo. I mean, they have 3 really, really good ball carriers for them. So that 3-headed attack should prevail.
That'll be an interesting game.
And then they got to go pack up their bags, and
they're playing the November 6th game is at Oak Harbor?
It's at Oak Harbor, and it's going to be between either Coopville or Friday Harbor. they're playing a game this week
Interesting.
to determine the champ. So it's going to be one of those. And if you look at the RPI rankings of those two schools, you notice they're in the 30s. Which is why they were advocating hard for this game to happen because, they wanted 5 bids.
Let's see. Yeah, Friday Harbor is number 29. Coupeville is number 37 out of 45.
Yes.
Coupeville is 2-4. Let's play a quick roundup, but who have they played? They beat LeConner 51-0, and they beat LeConner again 40-0. They have lost every other game they played.
Wow. Wow, look at that.
Let's see. Those include losses to powerhouses like La Jolla, South Whidbey, Friday Harbor, and Cascade.
Oh, so they've already lost to Friday Harbor.
32-6.
Okay, so it's going to be Friday Harbor.
Yeah.
Let's play a quick game of
like it.
who has Friday Harbor played.
Who has Friday Harbor played? I'm glad you asked. They are 4-0, but 3-0 in league.
Okay.
4-4. With wins over South Whidbey, Granite Falls. Oh, wait, no, those are losses. So they've lost to South Whidbey, Granite Falls, South Whidbey again, and Bellingham High School.
Okay.
They've beaten LeConner. God, LeConner. They beat LeConner twice.
Why does everyone get to play LeConner twice?
Everybody just gets to beat up on LeConner. Pad their stats.
Napavine should play Owako twice.
Yeah. Napavine just schedules North Beach again for their bye week in the state playoffs. They beat Seton Catholic 39-32, and they beat Coupeville 32-6, as we previously mentioned. So, yeah, it looks like Friday Harbor coming in on that one.
Yep.
Cool. In the 2As, it's looking like Tumwater is going to be the EBCO one. They'll probably play Columbia River.
Yep. Not set in stone. I think something needs to happen down there. The Columbians got it covered. I don't track them, but like Hudson's Bay has to beat someone or something. So, but Columbia River is likely who they're going to play. I don't think it matters who they play, obviously.
Yeah, I think Tumwater will be fine there.
Yes.
WF West, the EBCO 2, gets to host a playoff game, and they will likely have Mark Morris, it looks like.
Yep, man. Mark Morris has a guy on their team named Deacon Dietz, so I have to
Cool
cover
name.
that game.
It's
Much cooler than my name, unfortunately.
Is he your cousin?
No relation, to my knowledge.
Let's see. And then the EBCO 3 and 4 spots look like it's up for grabs between Shelton, Aberdeen, and Rochester. So who are they playing this weekend? Rochester just got the win over Aberdeen.
Yeah, so Rochester is off this week. They're not playing anybody. They're playing the waiting game. Shelton and Aberdeen are playing each other. Mm-hmm. So Rochester lost to Shelton but beat Aberdeen. So if Aberdeen beats Shelton, it'd be a 3-way tie for third. And I'm assuming there would be some coin flip to determine. I doubt they would have them play again.
I don't think if they've got 3 teams tied and one of them has to end their season, they'll do some kind of an on-field tiebreaker.
They'd make them play again.
I don't think they'd make them play again. I think they'd gather them all at a neutral site. They'd probably pull them all to Tumwater and have them do like a 3-way Kansas tiebreaker kind of thing.
Okay. That'd be interesting if that happens.
Traditionally, what I've seen is that if it's just for playoff seeding and teams are tied, they'll flip a coin. If somebody's season's going to be over, they'll make them play to get out.
Right, so that someone's season doesn't end on a coin toss.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's an unlikely scenario because if I had to guess, Shelton will win, meaning Shelton would take the 3rd seed.
And then Rochester would be the 4 and play at Ridgefield.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, good luck.
Yeah.
Sputters are pretty good this year.
A lot riding on that Shelton Aberdeen game for the first time ever. Let's see. And then in the 1As, it looks like Eatonville is almost certainly the 1, and they will host Seton Catholic.
Yep.
Seton Catholic, like a perennial player of Tenino, it feels like.
Yeah, it feels like they play them every week.
Tenino, the Evergreen number 2, will be hosting either Castle Rock or La Center.
So those two schools are playing each other this week. The loser wins the Trico. The winner wins the Trico League.
Okay.
If the loser plays Tenino.
Okay, cool. And then Montesano is the Evergreen 3, and they will play at the loser of that Castle Rock La Center game.
The winner.
At the winner of that Castle Rock La Center game.
Yes. So, yeah, you win the Trico. Congrats, you get to play at Montesano.
Yeah. I feel like Montesano hasn't been the number 3 seed out of the Evergreen in a long time.
Yeah, they'll probably be good and mad, and yeah, I mean honestly, I don't know if I would rather win or lose that. I don't know if I'd rather host Montesano or go to Tenino.
Well, hey, we're Beaver believers here.
We
have the Beaver fever, and so you
are.
would most certainly rather host Montesano.
Sure. I guess I don't think it's a good choice either way for La Center or Castle Rock. So
No, it's probably not.
I think if I had to guess, I think La Center's probably a more well-rounded team. So I think Castle Rock is going to be the two. They're going to play at Tenino.
Okay. Let's see. We've already talked about RPI rankings for the most part, but
we need to do more.
We got to do a quick run through them.
Okay.
In the 2As, notables are WF West at 9, Tumwater at 11.
Yep.
Stillcombe still number 1.
Yep.
In the 1As, Tenino 9, Eatonville number 1.
Yep.
Oh, cool. And in the 2Bs, Kalama 1, Napavine 2.
What happened to Lind Ritzville?
Lind Ritzville dropped to 3.
No.
They're still 7-0, though, with wins over such powerhouses as Chewelah, Medical Lake, Reardon, Asotin, Davenport, and Liberty, my friends at Liberty.
Wow.
They also beat Northwest Christian
Okay.
in a close game.
Huge
So
wins.
that was our run through the RPI
Why aren't they
board.
number 1?
They just, no strength of schedule, I guess.
Isn't Adna number 9 in 2B, I want to say?
Adna is, yes,
Yeah.
number 9,
Yep.
4-2 record.
Yep.
Who does Adna beat?
They've
Valley.
They've only lost to Kalama and Napavine.
They blew out Morton White Pass, too.
Yeah.
And Kingsway, which I'm still not sure that's a real school. And Stevenson.
But honestly, that's why I'm kind of excited to see them play Wahkiakum, because it feels like it's going to be one of the first non-blowouts they're going to play all year in either direction. Because they got blown out by Napavine and Kalama, which fair. They've been doing that
they
to
haven't
everybody.
played a close game.
And then they've blown out everybody. So it'll be exciting to see what happens when they get matched up against a team that feels equal, at least on paper.
Yeah, definitely. Why can't I find a school that's played Wahkiakum? There's Wahkiakum.
I know Ani beat them
Wahkiakum-
62-10.
Yeah, Wahkiakum 4-4, 2-4 league. Blew out Raymond. Beat Mossy Rock. That's an 8-man game. Come on. It was a close game against Mossy Rock, too.
Yeah. It was weird.
Got hammered by Ani.
Yep.
Let's see. Got hammered by Toledo. Blew out Tootle Lake. Another, I think, 8-man. Nobody's really sure. 42-0 to Kalama. And lost to... they beat Stevenson 41-2. And they're wrapping their season with Kingsway Christian. I don't know what to take from any of that.
So they're playing this week. They're going to play Kingsway Christian on Thursday.
They are... Yes, it looks like they're playing Kingsway Christian on Thursday. According to the
I think you need a certain amount of games in between, certain amount of days in between games because they're playing on Monday. So that's why I heard they moved up all the 2B games to Thursday, because if you had to play Monday, you needed at least 3 days rest or something. There's a rule.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So they're gonna have that game in before they play Adna. That'll be interesting.
It sounds like it. I mean, this is just the RPI board, so this could be
right. And who knows with Max Preps?
Yeah. Let's see. AP rankings. Tumwater is 5-2 and number 1 in the 2As.
Yep.
Good for them. Ahead of Ridgefield, which is 8-0 and number 2. WF West getting some votes are number 10.
Yep.
Good for the Bearcats.
I think might have just been me and Trent, but
Hey, did you guys both vote on number 1?
no, I want to say I put him 8th, maybe.
That's fair. They're good.
So someone else must have given him votes if they got 10 points.
In the 1As, Tenino is number 5. That's got to be the highest Tenino's been ranked in 25 years.
Yeah, they're the highest ranked one-loss team, and they're, I think, ahead of a couple undefeated teams, too. So.
They are ahead of Kings, which is 8-0 and ranked number 6th.
Yep.
And then the 2B is Napavine 4 first place votes, Kalama 2 first place votes, Napavine number 1, Kalama number 2. A mere 3 points in the points total separates them. Okanagan 3, Lind Ritzville Sprague 4, Toledo 5, Burbank 6, Onalaska 7, despite beating Toledo by 30?
30, yeah.
Goldendale 8, Forks 9, Davenport 10. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, that's God. Where Onalaska winds up, like you could tell me they wind up the 10 seed in state or like the 5 seed, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right.
It's weird. It's weird what they'll do with them because I've had a hard time justifying keeping them up so high. Because I mean, at some point you just got to win. You know, I can't put a 2-5 team above, but I should because they're probably better. You know.
I mean, yeah, just look at the 2B top 10. Number 1, 8-0, 7-0, 8-0, 7-0, 6-2, 8-0, 2-5, 7-1, 6-1, 7-1.
I mean, they're ahead of a lot of teams that have way better records than they do.
They have as many losses as the rest of the top 10 combined.
Yes.
Which is wild.
Yes.
But we still love the Loggers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good. I would not be shocked at all if they were in the state semis.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Anyway, Alec, how's your house?
It's good, but it could always be better.
What's your furniture situation? We've talked about this before, but give me some details.
I know. It's
you
pain
get home
every
from
time
a
you bring it
long
up.
you get home from a long night. You just want to walk in the door, crack open a grape soda, and sit down on what to watch TV?
I have a futon right now.
Do you also sleep on the futon?
No, but
It took you a while. I feel like you're hiding something. You should really go see our friends at Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Center. Just go in there and tell them, like, look, I sleep and sit in the same place. My life is hell. Help me.
It's also my dining. I don't have a dining table, so I actually do eat off my futon.
Do you have a TV tray, at least?
I have like one of the like a what do you call them? Stand, like,
yeah. I just imagine like
it's not awful, but also I'm 23 living in an apartment by myself. Like, come on.
Do you have one end of the couch that you sit on for dining and the other end for sitting?
No, I sit in the same spot.
That a boy.
Yeah, I got a TV.
That's good. Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah. PlayStation.
Is the PlayStation also your DVD player?
Yeah, but who has DVDs anymore?
I know. That's an old throwback.
What are you, 70? Like, my God.
Yeah, I know. I
bring up VCR. Like,
I was just talking the other day about watching the movie Casino and having to replace the VHS tape halfway through. Oh, God. It felt so old.
My parents had a VHS, so I didn't grow up in a house without one. I know what it is, but yeah, I mean, I can't tell you the last time I even used like a DVD player. Been mooching off my parents' Netflix and HBOs and all that.
Yeah, you should hang out with Matt Beatty more often. Matt would talk about how him and a bunch of his college buddies had a conglomerate where they would share passwords for all the different streaming services.
Yeah.
They would Venmo each other like $1.50 every month.
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, incredible.
Anyway, if you've saved so much money conglomerating and consolidating your streaming services with your college pals that you can afford a new couch, go see Elam's Home Furnishings, where the prices are low but the quality is high. They also have a mattress gallery. They will hook you up with everything you need to make your house feel like a home. It's a great spot. You can see them at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia. That's their showroom. Give them a call, 807-1211. Just tell them what furniture you want. They'll hook you up. Send them an email, info@elamshf.com, and ask them whatever questions you have. We're happy to have them as a sponsor. They got great stuff over there too. Alec is on his way. I just saw him bolt out the door. He was like, you know what, it's couch time.
And if you're like me and you're embarrassed about your situation, they're totally understanding of any living situation you may currently be in.
They're very discreet. Week 8 grid picks roundup. Guesser Doug Ashmore called Raymond South Bend beating Rainier. Good for Doug.
He did it.
I am not surprised to see Doug pull that one out. The absolute prince, Doug Ashmore. He's one of my favorites. Doug, I probably covered Doug's game. Like, I've known Doug forever, and he would still call in games, and I'd be like, hey, Doug, what's up? And he would call me the wrong name and then just start reading his scores off. This is like a few years ago. He's been a coach the entire time I've been here since like 2009. But yeah, Doug's the best. Glad to see him get that one. The other one that was divisive was Rainier, Oregon over Onalaska. Alec, you and Trent both picked it. Everybody else took the L there.
Yeah, tough. I mean, I don't know. I think with me, I had enough of picking Ani over teams I didn't really know much about from far away. So I was like, yeah, That's no slide on Onalaska. I think they were playing a team that had like twice their enrollment, but
Yeah.
All
right, this week's Grid Picks is probably the most boring it's ever been. There's only 9 games on there. The Adna versus Wakayakum game is not on because it's next week, technically.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
It's Monday. I guess we should have put it on, but...
What are you going to do?
And Winlock, the new Winlock game also isn't on there, but I imagine everyone would pick Winlock.
Yeah, I think so too. So Napavine at Morton White Pass, Napavine across the board. Stevenson at Onalaska across the board. Rainier at Toledo across the board. North Beach at PL Valley across the board, including from our guest, PL Valley softball coach Ken Olson. Very good softball coach. He knows his stuff. WF West at Black Hills, Bearcats across the board. Tumwater at Centralia, Tumwater across the board, except for Chad, who went with Centralia. Questionable pick. But you don't get to be 56 and 40 in grid picks over the season, picking the obvious ones. Mossy Rock at Oakville, Mossy Rock across the board. Ocosta at Winlock, Rainier at Winlock now, Winlock across the board. And Tenino at White Salmon, that's in Columbia, down on the gorge. You just go past Stevenson.
Yep.
10 miles, you're in White Salmon.
Look at that.
Everybody has Tenino. What are you and Trent up to this Friday and this weekend?
Yeah, everything's split up. So all the 2Bs are playing on Thursday. So I don't think we've planned. I mean, if I got to be 100% honest, the slate this week isn't too exciting.
Yeah.
So I think we might try to just hit up as many as we can and get a lot of photos of everybody instead of just kind of covering one big game because there really isn't a lot of consequential games.
Yeah.
Especially on Thursday. And then Friday, I think, I have Friday off because there's only 4 games.
Whoa, look at you.
I know. And we have to work Saturday because there's like a whole bunch of district playoff stuff starting. So I think Trent's going out to Centralia, Tumwater.
Okay, interesting.
It's close.
Yeah. Anyway.
Technically, also, I think senior night for Centralia, so.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Sports Dump. We will be back next week to tell you, give you a detailed picture of the playoff scenarios, playoff outlooks, things like that. The scenarios will finally be set, and so we will discuss those. Thank you very much, and thanks again to our sponsors, Global Septic and Elam's Home Furnishings. Go see them for very different needs, but you'll be happy either way. Thanks a lot.